I am so glad to be here again, sharing in this group with my friend Liz. So last week we were talking about back to school for your business, and we had Maggie Graham talk about business systems for the home. But I wanted also to have that perspective of business systems, because I know that's where I get a lot of questions. What business systems do I need to have in place? And all that. So I asked my friend Liz to join us here, and I'm super glad. So Liz, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and maybe one fun thing people don't know about you?
Okay, I'm sitting here going, okay, I'm already jumping ahead to what I'm going to tell you. My mind tends to do that, jump ahead. So my name is Liz Birkeland, and I personally, I've been married. My husband Pete and I have been married for almost 30 years. We'll have our 30th anniversary in December, and we're the parents of two young men. Andrew is almost 27, and he lives out of state. I live in Minnesota. We live in the Twin Cities area of Minnesota. And so he lives in Omaha, so it's not too far a drive for us. And then our younger son, Nels, he's a rising junior at a college about 3 hours away from us. So we get to see both boys a fair amount, and it's delightful. And for the last couple of years, I have been a life coach, a certified life coach, certified through the same program that you have been, Covenant Coach Academy. And I've been building my business, doing individual coaching, but also basically helping women figure out how to better run their lives, whether it's in their health and wellness, or in their business, or in their home. So
Yeah.
I've been calling myself a life organization coach because I have a huge, one of my things that I've loved to do for most of my life is organize. And whether it's the purging and the organizing, or creating systems that work,
Yeah.
kind of my jam is like project management type stuff. Planning events would be like right up there, and
Right
what I
there.
love to do. So
And so for those of who don't know you, like what other skills, like jobs that you had in your past have helped move you here to where, you
Mhm.
know what, I can talk about business systems because I've lived it.
That's probably like, I'm just going to kind of run through some of this.
Yeah.
So in my previous pre-mom life, I worked for a hotel group as systems and control manager.
Mm,
Did the food and beverage controls as well. I started off waiting tables, so that requires a lot of organization and time management there to do it well. I'll tell you something about myself. I almost got fired from a serving position
so
after
that's
I
a one
graduated
fun
from
thing.
college. So I had a really bad attitude, thinking I shouldn't be waiting tables with a college degree. And I almost got fired. And it was honestly like the pivot point for turning my life around, going,
Mm,
okay, no, I'm going to be the best server that I can be, because that's what I'm doing right now.
mhm.
Um, so I've been a certified public accountant. I've worked for 3 airlines in 2 different capacities. I was a flight attendant. Um, I've had my own businesses selling Mary Kay cosmetics, creative memory scrapbooking, um, professional organizing services. So
Yes. So
I'm
you
also a professional volunteer at my son's high school. They've graduated, and I'm still there helping with things.
see, one, I didn't know you were a flight attendant before, and creative memories. So we have something in common. I was never a flight attendant, but I did creative memories. So I totally remember that era.
And you do love to fly. So
I do.
there's
I
that
do love
common
to
thing.
fly.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, how fun. So Liz, we're talking about business systems today.
Mhm.
Why does someone even need a system?
It just helps you run things more easily, instead of I just think of systems as putting in place something that has to be done all the time anyway.
Mhm.
And honestly, by creating systems, you don't have to make the same decisions over and over and over. The decision has been made and you've got a plan in place. And that's basically all a system is a way of doing things that help you out. Um, you can spend a lot of time doing things if you have to do them for the first time and do them over every time. So having a system will help save you time because you've got it, the pieces fall into place,
Right.
so it runs more easily,
And
and
it's
you're making fewer decisions. You've
which is
already
key.
made the decision. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I always think of a system is going to save you energy. It may take time to set it up or to get it to run smoothly, but you are saving energy. And as you and I know, and um, I can't give you like research statistics or anything, but we all know there's a thing called decision fatigue,
Yes.
having to make
Yeah.
decisions over and over and over. And all this does is pre-make your decision.
Yep. And that's one of the things that I love to help women who are in business and they're running their homes or they're helping with elderly family or whatever, pre-making decisions, having decision-making filters. So a system alleviates that need to, oh my gosh, I have to decide again. I decide again because it's true. We
Mhm.
hit those walls where it's like, if one more person asks something of me, I'm going to just lose it. Or we can't anymore. So you're saying a system is, it's like a filter for, we've already decided it's done. We pre-made it, it's done. And so then it's on autopilot. It doesn't require our brain to have as much energy
Mhm.
because we already thought through everything.
Well, and I'm glad you bring up that word filter because a lot of times we are faced with so many options.
Hmm.
And by setting up that pre-done filter on what's important to us, all of these options may all be really good things or opportunities that we have coming at us. But if we have already decided what that filter is, what are those things that get through, then we can apply those priority opportunities
Mm.
into our lives however they best fit.
Yes. And that is one way a system helps us gain that time back.
Mhm.
Because then we are putting what's important. We have time for that, what's important stuff, instead of the squeaky wheel stuff, which
Right.
usually is the stuff involved in a system.
Yep. Well, and the other thing I'm thinking about too is by creating a system, you're helping to consolidate tasks or group them together so that you're doing like things with like things.
Mm,
And that does help alleviate some of that decision fatigue. We
yeah,
talked about how interrupting a task, it takes you, they say up to 7 minutes to get back to your same level of efficiency that you were
right.
at before that interruption. And so by doing, saving all of your emails to return for a time of day when you can group them together and also looking at what's your energy level during
Hmm.
the day as well.
Yeah. So when someone is starting a business, I know a lot of times they're like, I need to have X, Y, and Z done. But how do you know when it's time to implement a system? Is it always like I have to have all these in place and then I can get started? Or is there like a core system that needs to be in place and then others can come later?
It's funny you ask that because as someone who helps put systems together, I know exactly how their mind works.
Hmm.
And I've shared this story with you before about how I was a math major in college. And part of what I loved about it was there was always a right answer.
Mhm.
There was sometimes a couple of ways to get there, but there was always a right answer. And so I have gotten personally stuck in feeling like I have to have the right way to do something. And I have coached myself through that. It still pops up. So it's not like it's a one and done
Mhm.
decision here, but that whole idea that there is more than one right way to do something. And oftentimes the right way is the way that you're going to do it.
Mm.
So when someone's starting their business, it's not the systems that are the business, it's what they're offering. So what is it that you're offering that has to get done?
Wow.
And you've talked about this in your grace-based business group, that it's conversations, it's meeting with people, it's making offers. And so those are the things that have to get done. So what are the systems that will help you do that? Don't worry about your email system. Don't worry about your social media system. Don't worry about your filing system or your accounting system.
Yeah.
Get those things done, knowing that these other systems
Mhm.
can often be something that you don't have to set up and decide. You can reach out to somebody and say, how do I best do this? What files do I need to keep, without you going and recreating the wheel? Let someone like me
Yeah.
give you a list of here's files to set up for your business.
I just want to reiterate something that Liz said. Systems aren't your business. Your offer is your business. Systems help you um, get your offer out, right? But a lot of times when we are starting something new, like a business, we go straight to, what do I need to have in place? I should have this all in place, but you don't even have a use for it yet, because you either don't know what you're really offering, or you haven't even had people you're working with yet. And so some systems can come later. But Liz, what would you say would be one simple system for someone starting out with a business that they almost like, I hate using the word should, but it would be like a really good idea to have in place.
Um, I think back to how important it is to have your physical surroundings somewhat organized and efficient. And so if you were to start off with one system, I would say set up a really simple filing system, so that either physical paper files or a system on your desktop where you can find the paperwork that you need to find and that you need to hang on to. That way you don't end up with a pile of paper that you have to go through. I call piles horizontal files, because you know exactly what we're talking about. You're like, okay, I'm going through this one. Where is that?
Yeah.
Instead, set up a really simple filing system, and that's exactly what it is. It's simple. Don't make it harder than it needs to be. When you think of a piece of paper, where would you look for it? If it's a client, you would look in a client file. And I've
Right.
got a simple little solution for people who are dealing with individual clients. Set up a client file. Don't set up individual client files. And within that client file, keep manila folders. I love manila folders and pencils. I pencil in my client's initials and it gets dropped into my client file. And
Yes.
set that up ahead of time, because it's easier to have it set up and maybe not need one of those files than to sit there with a stack of paper in 3 months going, I have no idea what's in here, and I have to now sort through it.
Right.
Mhm.
And when we can't find things, then we tend to either procrastinate or not show up or not give that offer, because we're like, I don't have my things in place. I can't offer this, right?
Mhm.
So having a simple system for paperwork, whether it's
Mhm.
digital system or literal paper,
Mhm.
anything else with that?
Well, listening to Maggie's talk last week about home systems, so many of these home systems are applicable, transferable to your business.
Mhm.
Um, my home files are in the same filing drawer as my business files, and it's just a different color so that I can easily find my business files. Um, so that idea of transferability, you don't have to recreate a specific system to serve you. You might already be doing something similar.
Huge right there for someone, because they think that in order to start a business, I have to have a system in place, but you already might be doing a system that you could just transfer over into your business sphere that
Mm-hmm,
you're already doing well.
mm-hmm.
You don't have to recreate the wheel.
Yeah. For example, for years, I have had what's called a birthday book. It's just dates every day of the year. And I write people's birthdays in there or their anniversary. And so I've got that system in place. So when I want to send birthday cards to my friends, the beginning of the month, I go through and it's like, oh, this birthday's coming up. Cassie's birthday is next week, and that makes it to my to-do list. You can do the same thing with your business. You can set up a little tickler file day by day on who you're going to contact, or if you know your client's birthday is on September 17th, you write it down in there and it's like, oh, my client Mary has a birthday coming up. I'm going to drop them a quick little card. So that can serve as your tickler file for contacts.
Yes. And what I love that you just shared, because, my heart is for mompreneurs. You're showing how easy it is to have home and business like meld together. It doesn't have to be separate. Like
Mm-hmm.
we think, like there's going to be some aspects, right? But you're saying we already have this. We probably already have some good systems in place. We just need to wrap our mind around it that it can work for business too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I do think there are a lot of moms who have corporate or separate careers where
Mhm.
they do have a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
There are a lot of moms who work from home. And then there's the group in between who it's overlaid. Your business is run from your home. This is my mudroom off my garage and my dining room.
Right.
And I know there's mompreneurs who have a little file box of things and their office is the under the bed.
Right.
So whether you leave your home to go to work, or if you bring your work into a room in your home, as women, we really are, they're overlaid. So many of us, it's not our work that's the most important. It's not our home that's the most important. It's our family. And it's that overlay on how to make things work more smoothly, not only for us and for our clients, our customers, but for our family, because that's the most important thing for us.
Yes. And because when we get those systems in place, like you said, it eliminates some of that decision fatigue so that we get the priorities in. So if we have some business systems in place, that allows us not only to get business priorities in, but family priorities in. And when
Mhm.
we have home systems in place, it not only allows us to get family priorities in, but business priorities in. So then they become systems, home and business systems that are working together so that we can get those priorities for both of those areas in our life.
Mhm. Yeah. As you were talking about this, Mo, I was just thinking about how it's easy, and I'll just use myself as an example. It's easy for me to get stuck in how I've always done things.
Mm,
I have an absolute preference for paper. I take notes on paper.
yeah.
I use my paper calendar. And then I try and work with my husband, who is, everything is digital. He's got that new little electronic notebook that
Yep.
converts to a PDF or whatever. And his calendar is on Google. And the two of us are always updating each other because my system doesn't really talk to his system. And I think people get stuck in that idea that, well, I'm only paper, or I'm only digital, or this is how I've always done things. And I have given myself permission that it's okay that I love a paper calendar, but I'm in transition to posting my things on the Google Calendar so it's accessible to both of us.
Yes, so that systems can be upgraded, just like your computer systems, operating systems need to be upgraded. Our own, in which I found that in my life, because I'm a paper girl. I love paper planners, but this last year, like mid-year, I had to switch to digital because all my appointments are scheduled digitally. And in order for me to block out time, I had to already have it digitally put on my calendar. So I'm like, why am I doing double duty here, right? But I love how you brought that up, that our systems can start off looking one way, but they might need to be upgraded. So there's freedom there to recognize that a system is a tool that we use. It is not something that uses us.
Yeah, it's supposed to allow us freedom to do other things instead of us being a slave to it.
Yes. So going back to earlier, how do you know when you need to put a system in place? Like, how do you know when's the right time?
I think you end up with those niggling feelings that something's not quite right, that it's what I'm doing isn't working. And honestly, you have to ask a lot of questions. Like, what is it about this that's bothering me? Because I know, for example, people will say to me, I've had a number of people say to me recently on setting up a business, they don't know what steps to take. And so I can tell them what steps to take. I can't tell them exactly how to do it.
Yeah.
Because laws are different between states. There's different requirements for banking, all of these things. So you have to ask a lot of questions. It's like, okay, I know I have to do this, but I don't know how to do it, or I don't know what it looks like. So to come up with an answer on when's the best time to set up a system, I really think it's when you start asking those questions about, do I need something? Do I need some help here? Or paying attention, that pile of paper is really bothering me. What is it about that I'm either not handling well, I'm not paying attention to.
So it's like paying attention to what you're feeling. And if you're feeling like you're dropping the ball, like, oh my goodness, like, I don't know, this client needed this and I couldn't find it, and I felt like I was dropping the ball or something like that. And so those are indicators that maybe a system is what is needed. And to look at, so how is there a way to design a system that works for you? Like, do you have any tips on thinking through how to actually design a system? Because we say this word system.
Yep.
But how does it just magically happen?
Well, and a lot of times I will say to somebody, how have you done something similar in the past? But without realizing that a lot of people do not have that same mindset. They don't have that skill set of putting things in place. And so I do have to back them up into, what are your priorities? What is it that you're trying to accomplish here? And then let's back into the system instead of building the system from here forward.
Yeah.
What is it your goal is? So let's continue talking about paper.
Mm.
You find that you've got a stack of paper here and a stack of paper there, and there's a stack of paper that got shoved in that drawer because you wanted to have dinner on the dining room table. So you know that you've got a paper pile problem.
Yeah.
So what is it that you want to accomplish?
Mhm.
Do you want to be able to find important paperwork? Do you want to be able to not get phone calls from school? I'm going to overlay the family thing, you know, not getting calls from school because you didn't fill the form out.
Right.
So what are the goals here? And then start putting
Mm.
that organization in place, that system on
Yeah.
dealing with it. How do you best deal with your calendar?
Mhm.
Do you have a time during the week that you take care of paying your bills or following up with clients? Do you have that in place?
Yeah. So like reverse engineering
Mm-hmm.
from what your desired outcome is.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
then like I love that you ask yourself questions. You can Google all this and someone will share what's working for them, but
Mhm.
it might not work for how you operate, how your family operates, how you run your business. So you have full permission to ask yourself those questions. How do I want this to work for me?
Mhm.
What needs to happen first, and how can I simplify it?
Well, and I think realizing too, going back to that math scenario with the right answer, there is in math a right answer, but that's not true for life.
Right.
What works for me might kind of work for you
Mhm.
and be perfect for the next gal that you talk to, and then the next gal that she tells about this system that works really well for her friend is going to be like, I have no clue what you're talking about here because that makes no sense to me. So there is no right system.
Mm. Which is a freedom piece for someone here. There is no right system,
Yeah, I'll raise my hand on that one right now.
because what happens, like, what is like one stall when it comes to systems? Like, I feel like a lot of people place a certain responsibility on systems that isn't supposed to be on systems, but it's supposed to be on us, but we're avoiding something.
Mhm.
So like we'll tell ourselves, I will, I'll announce my business once I have a filing system in place. I will, once I figure out my email, then I will share what I offer. But we're like making that the excuse for not doing what you said, what is really our business, which is what we offer,
Mhm.
and extending those offers to people.
I'm just going to share a personal
Mhm.
insight into this whole thing here. Recently, I was feeling really bad about the thing that I love to do the most, which is create systems, organize, plan things. Those are things that I'm really good at and I really enjoy. And I thought, that's silly. That's not of worth to anybody else. And I was holding myself back because it was like, this comes easily to me.
Mhm.
And it struck me that by not offering those things in a business, in my business, it could possibly be holding somebody else back from their business because they're stuck on those things that I'm good at.
Right.
And so to turn it to that other person who's like, I can't do this, look at what it is you're offering and how that can change lives by getting it out there.
Mm,
And if you're stuck on an email system or a filing system, or you don't know where to start,
yeah.
that's not what you're offering. It's
Mhm.
whatever your offer is to other people, whether it's a coach, selling skincare, you have a small engine repair business out of your garage, creating hypoallergenic soaps,
Mm,
artisan soaps,
mhm.
whatever those things are, that's not your business, that's your offer, and that's what is going to change people's lives. And
Yes.
to realize that the system is just supposed to help you do that.
Mhm.
It
And
just
like
so happens that the system is my
that,
business.
exactly. Well,
Mhm.
that's why we're talking to you, because you have that insight. But like one of the a couple things that you said were, we have freedom to ask ourselves questions. And then you were talking about how you started reframing and asking yourself a different question so that you can move forward. When I am tempted to say, like, I don't know how. I don't know how to do this email system. I don't know how to set up my CRM system or my calendar. I've gotten to where I ask myself this question, but who do I need? Who do I know? Who knows this? Instead of like, then because before I was like, I have to figure this out.
Mhm.
Well, who do I know that knows this, that I can either pay to do it or ask them, get a coffee and chat and have them help me, right? It's like,
Mhm.
because our business is based on relationships. It's
Mhm.
based on connections. It's based on those conversations.
Yeah.
So that's one of the questions I use to help me get over the how, but I don't know how. But I
Mhm.
bet you I know a who knows how.
Well, and that's so cool because it is the relationship about everything. I mean, there are hundreds of really good bookkeepers, but what makes them, if they can all do your books to the same level of efficiency and accomplishment, who's the one that you're going to work with? It's the one that you relate to, that you have something in
Mm,
common with, that you have
yes.
that trust factor, and
Yeah.
it's all in the relationship and the conversations.
Yes. So good.
Mhm.
Earlier, when you were sharing about what you did, you also talked about how you are like a life organization coach.
Mhm.
So if someone wanted to work with you, what are some things that you help them do when it comes to life and business?
Um, well, right now I have a health and wellness course that's coming up. And the cool thing about focusing on your health and your overall wellness is that is something that impacts every area of
Mhm.
your life. If you have, if you're lacking energy, if you don't eat foods that energize you, if you don't get sleep so that you're feeling groggy all day and it affects how crabby you are with your kids or your spouse or your coworkers, um, our health plays such a big important part. So just that physical and mental, physical health
Mhm.
is such an overlaying factor. um, I look at the foundation of our life, and for me, my basic foundation is my faith. And I think for most people, whatever faith looks like to them, that is their basic foundation. That's what holds them up every day. And then you get into what's our physical being.
Yes.
If
Mhm.
your knee hurts and you can't walk around, that's going to affect what you're doing on vacation with your family. If you are spending hundreds of dollars every month in the doctor trying to figure out why you aren't feeling well, that's affecting your family time, your finances, so physical health and wellness plays such a big overlaying focus in all of
Yeah.
our lives. And so I do spend a lot of time working with people if they're saying that, I wish I had more energy. I wish I could do more with my kids. I know for me, I don't have grandchildren yet, but when I do have grandchildren, I want to be able to get down on the floor and play with them. I want to be able to get up off the floor after playing with them, pick them up, carry them around, take trips.
Yeah.
And so focusing on how I'm feeling now is setting me up for how I'm going to feel as a grandma. And, I can't
Yeah.
wait.
So you have a health and wellness system
Mm-hmm.
for moms to jump into so that they can be consistent. And it's done because we talked about systems being something where it's a decision-making filter. It's done for you. It's already decided. You get to step in and use this system for you.
Mm-hmm. Well, and this one is different because it's not just a diet plan or an exercise regime that quits working when you quit following it. This is an entire approach focusing on the foods we eat, how we fuel our body, the movement that we get every day, looking at the mindset piece that goes into our physical health, and then also looking at the rejuvenation and the rest portion that's required for good physical health. So it looks at those pillars, but it's a program that lays the system out, and you get to work the system.
Awesome.
It's individualized to what's going to work best for you.
So good. Well, we're about ready to wrap up. What is one piece of encouragement you would give to a woman listening today who knows they need to implement a system, but they're still feeling a little bit of resistance?
I would say pick one. Just pick one. It doesn't have to be done perfectly. It doesn't have to be the way it's going to be done for the next 47 years, but pick one that's going to make a difference to you. If the paper piles are bothering you, start a filing system. If it's bothering you that you aren't reaching out on social media, make a schedule. Pick a topic and just post on it. If it is meal planning at home, get your calendar out, figure out what nights you're home for dinner, and make a plan. So just pick one and start. It's not going to be the only system that you ever use for the rest of your life, and you aren't going to be doing that system the exact same way for the rest of your life. So this isn't like the 10 Commandments carved in stone. But yeah,
that
pick
is
one.
so good. Pick one, and you have the ability to change it. Just pick one.
No,
so
it's not a math equation where there is a right answer.
Yeah. Yes. Well, thank you so much, Liz, for joining me. I will make sure that I have your contact information, or you can even hop in and add it added there. If you have questions about some systems that we talked about or things that we didn't talk about, leave it in the comments, because we will be coming back and answering them. If you had some ahas, leave those in the comments too. And if you're watching on replay, #replay. Take care, and we will see you guys around. Bye.
Thank you, Mo.
You're welcome.